George here, bringing you a video about Sun and Moon news. Now, we received a huge news dump that just I don't think anybody expected, with a bunch of new Pokemon, as well as kind of remade Pokemon from Generation 1, including Ninetales, Executor with that long neck. It looks so goofy, but I love it. And personally, the most controversial and one of the Pokemon that I have been wanting to see get changed for so long, Sandslash, as you see right here on the screen. Now, Sandslash received what they call an Alolan form, or I'm not even sure, just like an alternate form that is native to the region. But as you can see here, these forms received completely new designs, typing, abilities, and as we're going to see, they're most likely going to be getting new stats down the road, but we just don't know them as of now, which is where I think a lot of this debate is coming from, because from what I've seen on Twitter, a lot of people are questioning whether this Pokemon will be, I guess, viable in the OU metagame in Sun and Moon. And now we don't understand what all these Pokemon are gonna do, how they're gonna serve, what their stats are, and even some of their hidden abilities. But I figured we could at least take a look at the OU metagame as it is right now in ORAS, because I feel like it's pretty stagnant at this point. It's found its place. It's not really going to be making any major changes in these next couple months leading up to it. Now, one of the reasons why this Pokemon is receiving so much kind of hate or disbelief that it's going to be that good is because of this typing right here, Ice and Steel. Why most people are thinking it's bad is because you're now quad weak to Fire and Fighting, which are two pretty common types that you'll see just offensively, and they're just going to be putting on the pressure, and you're probably not going to be taking hits that well, because Sandslash has natural bulk. It's not that bad. As we take a look here, Sandslash has base 110 defense and 75 HP, which it's not too bad. It's not amazing, but you're definitely taking hits on the physical side. 55 special defense, not the best, unfortunately, and 65 speed is a bit underwhelming, but it's not too bad in an attack stat, as you can see. Let me just get rid of investment. Yeah, those are just the stats of the lie. Nothing too amazing, but it has potential to be pretty strong, especially with its ability Sand Rush down in the tiers. Because when you are max speed with Sand Rush, you're going to be hitting over 500 speed. You're going to be outpacing a ton of the metagame. Even if you don't really have any speed investment, let's just say you have a positive nature, 182, double that, you're going to be hitting over 360, about 364, I believe, which is still outpacing a decent amount of Pokemon. You're going to be hitting over the 100, I believe 115, 110 threshold. Let's take a look at Mega Glade, because that hits 110. So yeah, you're going to be hitting 350. So yeah, you'll be outpacing the 1 of 10 Pokemon, which is not too shabby, honestly. I believe Scarftar is able to outpace that as well. But let's take a look at the Pokemon, because this description will also bring up a couple new things, especially right here. The weight of the ice that covers this body makes these Alolan Sandslash heavier than normal Sandslash, and this causes them to be slower. So this is already proof showing that we're going to be getting new stats for these Pokemon. Sandslash's speed is going to drop, which sounds like a bad thing, but in order to probably counter this, they're probably going to be buffing other stats. I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to keep the same exact base stat total, just because I feel like that'd be a bit unfair. I don't think they're trying to go through Megas round 2, because we actually have not seen Megas yet, so who knows what's going to happen with them. But I feel like if they lower his speed, they're going to fix some of his other stats and everything like that. Hopefully, maybe they lower his special attack down to, like, I don't know, 15, call me Mega Beedrill. But, regardless, I feel like there's just going to be some reallocating of stats here. I would call it an RPG, too. So, here's the other thing, though. Yet in snowfields and not nice, they move by creating a path with their claws, so they're able to move with swiftness. Now, right now it shows it has Snow Cloak. But this description sounds more like something called like Sand Rush, which would work for the sand, but this is more like nothing we've ever heard of before, maybe like a Snow Rush or a Hail Rush, which is actually something that Joey, or PokeAim MD, said on his news video, and his Twitch. Go check him out. I'm sure you already have. But that is something that we've never seen before, and given the amount of they've shown us so many weather things already so far. If you take a look at the new move that came out, Solar Blade, it's practically a physical version of Solar Beam, or the Alolan Ninetales that actually has Snow Cloak as well. So honestly, I think we could be seeing a rise in Hail teams, because you don't really see any Hail teams in OU currently, because the 2 Pokemon I believe that get Snow Warning are Abomasnow and Aurorus, and Abomasnow isn't too bad. Aurorus it hits hard, but you know it gets outpaced by a lot. But I think we could be seeing more Hail teams, which would be really cool. We see Sun teams with Zardwai a lot, and Sand because of Tyranitar, which I'm actually going to touch upon later. But I would love to see Hail teams honestly rise up. Just 100% Blizzards. We start seeing other Ice types maybe rise up that we haven't seen that much with some of these abilities with Ice Body and stuff on Glaceon and everything, or Frostlass. I just think it would be so cool. I really like a lot of Ice Pokemon, but Ice, at its core, isn't a very good defensive typing, just because it has a lot of weaknesses. You know, your Fire, Fighting, Rock, Steel, all that stuff. So, which is actually what I have right here. This is a chart with the potential weakness, resistance, immunities, and all that stuff for Alolan Sandslash. Now, as we can see, we do have the Fire and the Fighting is ×4, and Ground is ×2. But those are your only weaknesses. I know two ×4 weaknesses, that's pretty bad. But only 3 in total? It's not that bad, honestly. That's a pretty good draw. And Water, Electric, Rock, Ghost, Dark, and Steel. So you have about 6 that hit you neutrally. But then we have Normal, Grass, Flying, Psychic, Bug, Dragon, and Fairy. That adds up to about 7 resistances, which is pretty solid. I believe in total, Steel type has about 10 resistances. Ice only has 1 resistance in Ice, which would explain... Oh, actually, I didn't see Ice there. Oh, because it's a different color. I'm dumb. So yeah, actually 8. But Poison 2, wait. Oh, man, we're just adding them up. Never mind. So we got about 9 resistance there, which is pretty solid. The only one that isn't really existent anymore is just because of the Rock, because the Ice cancels it out. But that's... Oh, and Steel because of the Ice. But that's pretty solid. Like, honestly, that's a handful of types you're not really going to be getting hit hard by, especially if some of the stat allocation actually goes back into your defensive stats, or, you know, HP or whatever. That would be fantastic. You're taking hits pretty well. So let's take a look at OU as it stands right now. We'll just get rid of this. So, Ice and Steel. Pokemon that you're definitely going to be hitting with this typing are Pokemon like Fairy types, especially. So we have Diancie, we have Azumarill, we have Clefable, and we also have Klefki. Klefki you don't see too much as the other Pokemon, I would say, but yeah, I think that's most of the Fairy types that you're going to be seeing. Oh, Gardevoir too. But we don't know what move pool it's going to get, but I think it's safe to assume we're going to be getting a new move pool given this typing, because if you look at Sandslash, I don't believe it gets like any Ice, or it gets Gyro Ball, which actually, Gyro Ball, that'd be actually pretty cool, especially with the speed drop. That's, yeah, okay, all right, I can see that being pretty good. But as you can see, there's not really many Ice or Steel types moves here, except for like Gyro Ball. So I could see them giving Sandslash moves like Icicle Crash, Ice Shard, Bullet Punch, Iron Head, stuff like that. Maybe not both of those forms of priority, but if you get one of those, that's amazing. That's super good. Having priority in at least the current metagame as it stands is very big. And so if you have Ice Shard or if you have Bullet Punch to hit those Pokemon, you're already, you know, a step above some other guys. Speaking of priority, though, Pokemon like Breloom with priority Mach Punch are going to be a bit of an issue. Another thing to take into account is Hidden Power Fire. Hidden Power Fire is commonly seen on Pokemon like Latios and Latias, Diancie, in order to hit the Ferrothorns and the Scizors. Amoonguss too, because Ferrothorn and Scizor are 2 common switch-ins to it, especially Ferrothorn because, you know, you're not taking the Spore or anything like that. So Hidden Power Fire could potentially be a problem. But let's say every other move for Latios and Latias, Draco Meteor, you're resisting it. Psyshock, you're resisting it. I mean, like, unless, you know, it could be a Surf Latios or Latias. Still probably not even going to do that much because your typing has changed. You're going to be taking hits pretty well, kind of like Jirachi or Spadef Skarm. I ran a calc, and Spadef Skarm takes Hidden Power Fire, it's about, I believe, a 15% chance to 2-hit KO after leftovers. Now, if Stealth Rock's up, that's another story. But the other thing with Alolan Sandslash is you're not taking the 25% from Stealth Rocks because of your Steel typing, which is fantastic just because of how hazards are kind of shaping up. Hazards are proving to be amazing in ORAS, especially with the presence of stall that's happening. Sure, there's Mega Sableye to bounce back the hazards, but you know, if you're smart and get up your hazards, you know, you're forcing them to switch around, and if you're playing aggressively, they're not going to want to keep switching into these hazards, which is why hazards are, how many more times could I say that word, but they're pretty prominent, and so that's nice. You know, you're not taking 25% on top of maybe stealth and spikes damage and all that stuff. So what are some Pokemon that Sandslash could have deal with pretty well? So Ice and Steel. Your water types are going to be a bit of an issue. You can't really hit either of those, any of those. You also are going to be struggling with other Steel types. Steel types, you don't really have any form of stab to hit them with. And the last type is Fire type, because none of your stabs hit that one super effective either. But let's say, for example, you do keep Earthquake in this move pool. You're hitting the Fire types, you're hitting the Steel types. It's fantastic. That's honestly amazing coverage for hitting those Pokemon that a lot of Ice types really can't say they have. Like Weavile, not running it. Kyurem, it runs Earth Power, but you know, which is great for, you know, hitting Pokemon like Rotom and stuff like that. Because you have the Terravolt. But I don't believe many Ice types carry Earthquake, which is a really nice tool. Well, Mega Glalie does, but it's still a really nice tool for hitting those types. I literally can't say that enough, especially because Sandslash is boasting Swords Dance. Swords Dance is pretty good for, well, I mean, of course it is, but if, let's say you do get priority with the Swords Dance, Ice Shard, Bullet Punch, they're going to be doing a lot. Fairy types aren't going to want to switch into you. Like Landorus and these Garchomps, not going to want to switch in. So let's run a calc roll here real quick. So we're taking a look at Landorus T. This is the defensive set, you know, your standard 252, 240, 88, Impish Nature, leftovers. Not Rocky Helmet on this one. So we changed his moves down here: Rapid Spin, Earthquake, Ice Shard, Swords Dance. So let's say you are at +1 because you Swords Dance and you got intimidated. You hit it with this Ice Shard, you're doing 50 to 59.6%. Now it's going to get the leftovers, so it is not a guarantee. It's not a guaranteed to a KO, and Earthquake is going to be doing a decent amount, at least with this stat allocation as of now. But let's say that you do get this attack buff. Actually, it's at 100 here. That's not right. 100. I know, 101. It should be 100. So let's say it does get a bit of a attack buff. You're going to be 2-hit KOing with Flesh Shard. Just straight up. Doesn't even matter about leftovers, which is, and this is actually at +1. If we get the +2, we're still 2-hit KOing, but this is more like guaranteed and everything. It's going to be great. It's super, like, again, these are all possibilities. We don't know its move pool. We don't know what stats are going to be, but those are just great tools to look forward to. Let's take a look at Clefable. We'll go with the Calm Mind Magikarp set. So with our Ice and Steel typing, at +2. Okay, we'll go back to neutral, and let's say you get Iron Head, and we're also just gonna put Bullet Punch just for, you know, comparison's sake. So Iron Head is doing 63 to 75%. That's a 2-hit KO. This is on your standard Clef set in ORAS as right now, 2-hit KO. This could show that Clefs could be running Flamethrower, or maybe some speed investment to outpace these Sandslashes. If they're running max speed with the speed drop in order to beat Pokemon like Azumarill or Clefable, because they hit these slower speeds, but they don't really run speed investment. But if they're running the speed investment, that means they're taking away from their bulk investment, which means other Pokemon can hit them harder too, which would be huge. So you're doing 63 or 63.9 to 75% to these Clefables with Iron Head. Bullet Punch is doing 31. Whew, it's doing way more. 31.9 to 38%. That's not too shabby either. +2, you're straight up killing with Iron Head, guaranteed. gone. Yeah, gone. Bullet Punch is a 2-hit KO at that point for sure. After leftovers and everything, they could run protect. Who knows? But like, you're hitting them really hard, and this is huge. Now let's take a Pokemon like Azumarill. Now Azumarill can hit you with the Water Stab just fine, but Play Rough is resisted. So let's take Choice Banded. Superpower. Yeah, that could, Superpower could be seeing a resurgence because of it. But Waterfall, you're not taking Waterfall well. Let's just be honest. It's Choice Banded Azumarill. There are very few in between, like, switch-ins or checks or counters to Azumarill, rather. There are plenty of checks. But Bullet Punch, +2, doing a solid amount. Iron Head, after rocks, you have to get the highest roll, but you have a chance to kill. And with other hazards, who knows? Sorry, taking a drink. But I think it just goes to show that with max investment at where it's standing right now, this thing could put in work. Let's look at some other Pokemon in the tier. So Amoonguss, another Pokemon that you could potentially deal with because grass types are, you're going to want to deal with these grass types with this. Ferrothorn, you have your Mega Venusaur. Mega Venusaur is probably still going to be a problem just given its typing and its ability with the Thick Bat, but Superior, you have, you could probably do a lot to that with Ice Shard. I actually want to see this damage. Okay, so we have Superior with just your standard Life Orb set. ×2, Ice Shard has a pretty high chance to kill after Stealth Rocks. It's in your favor, I would say. It's very low roll. Well, let's take some other Pokemon. Tornadus, Ice Shard, probably doing a queen amount to that. We'll say with the standard set, though. Special Attacker. Actually, no, I don't think that's actually the correct set to start running because that's not even the right one. Assault Vest Pivot. Ice Shard? Oh, yeah. They're dropping. They're dropping at +2. Get up that Swords Dance. It's fun. It's a good game. It just goes to show because there's a pretty good amount of flying types present in the tier. Ice Shard at +2 is going to be racking up damage. And this is why I know it doesn't for sure have Ice Shard. But I'm just saying potentially, if this Pokemon gets priority with that, fantastic. Look at Weavile. So good with Ice Shard. Sure, it's boasting, a higher speed and attack, but, it's with the bulky nature that we could potentially be getting, it's not that bad. Even if Sandslash doesn't make it into OU, it could still be pretty good in UU, I would feel, but I would just like to take a look at OU as it speaks. So, Pokemon that are steel types like Bisharp, you could hit with Earthquake. Pokemon like Excadrill probably hit with Earthquake. There's always Air Balloon and stuff like that. I want to take a look at Ice Shard on something like Garchomp. Current Tank Chomp set as it stands. +2 doing a good amount. Let's just say at neutral. Okay, it's still not a bad amount. That's Tank Chomp though. But let's say Icicle Crash because you're still not making contact with this move, I believe. 97.8 to 115.1. That's as it stands right now. With Garchomps, Tank Chomps do run Fire Blast, which is something to look out for, especially with the low nature of your special defense, but you're doing a good amount with that Icicle Crash if you have it. It's just, man, this Pokemon gets me so excited because of all the things it could get. There's access to 2 priority moves, strong moves in Iron Head and Icicle Crash, and this potential, Snow Rush, as Joey was talking about. It's awesome. I just think it's so cool. And I really want to hear what everybody else has to say about this Pokemon. So please let me know. Give me your thoughts down below whether you think this Pokemon is going to be like, yes, potential, or do you think it's going to be just straight trash, banished to NU or PU, whatever you think. I think it's in PU or NU right now, right? Let's take a look. NU. S. Yeah, he's in NU right now. So could he rise the ranks all the way to OU, UU, or is he just staying down there? Could this one actually be potentially worse? Maybe, maybe not. I'm inclined to believe it'll be a bit better, but that's just me. I feel like if it has the proper move pool, and we don't know its hidden ability, but if it is that Snow Rush, and we start seeing the uprising of these Hail teams, that'd be really cool in my opinion. Then who knows what this Pokemon could do. So I know I probably didn't cover some other Pokemon. Like Keldeo is definitely going to be a problem because you're not able to really hit it with anything super hard, and it's going to be able to just annihilate you with Scalds or Sacred Swords, whatever. You really don't have anything to take that Pokemon on. Hippowdon, even with Icicle Crash, I feel like it's still going to be taking it pretty well. Just, it's so bulky. It's too bulky. Earthquake is going to be hitting Heatran pretty hard. You would probably have to be running speed investment, though, to beat those Spadef Heatrans that are currently out there right now. Pokemon like Gliscor. Ice Shard, we saw how much it did the Garchomp. Probably going to be doing a good amount to Gliscor. Spadef Gliscor is currently what you'll see if you see a Gliscor, just because like the natural physical bulk is nice. You just don't really need it that much. So, as it stands right now, Ice Shard's going to be doing it a ton, but maybe we'll see a resurgence of that. I'm not going to get into depth about Megas just because we don't know if they're coming back. I kind of want to see some Megas back, maybe just because I'm partial to my boy Mega Charizard here, but I do realize how broken Megas can be, and in VGC especially. Maybe they just want to cut down on not seeing a Mega Kangaskhan on every team, but who knows. Pokemon like Chansey, it's going to be a fun time hitting with that knockoff so long as it doesn't get nerfed or anything like that, because the jump from Gen 5 to Gen 6 saw knockoff get a boost, and that's why I see knockoff everywhere. Let's see. Other Pokemon. Magnezone, Earthquake, gonna be a fun time. Manaphy, definitely gonna be a problem. Again, these water types are definitely gonna be a problem. Rotom, I could definitely see Rotom. It's just a clear counter. Straight up counter. Because you're not gonna hit with Earthquake. Icicle Crash or Iron Head, all your priorities, not gonna do anything to Rotom. So, Rotom, definitely clear counter. Scizor, another Pokemon I feel like that can just straight up counter you. Well, not really counter, especially if you have the SD, you start Earthquaking, but if you see how well it takes a Lando T Earthquake, more of the physically defensive set, but it takes them extremely well. I think it does around 30%. They just SD on you, they roost. So Scizor is definitely going to be giving you a lot of problems. Slowbro, another Pokemon that will definitely be giving you a lot of problems. Again, these water types, these water and these steel types, that Earthquake doesn't work on, the steel types that Earthquake doesn't essentially work on that much. It's definitely going to be giving you problems. Starmie is frail at its core. It sometimes can be running HP Fire. Scald is definitely going to be a problem. But there is the bulky, kind of Starmie set for the Rapid Spin utility, which is probably going to be taking your hits pretty well. Talonflame, I want to say Ice Shard with Rocks is probably going to do a decent amount. If you Sword Stance up, let's take a look at that actually. So we'll say Talonflame. Offensive Sword Stance. So Icicle Crash is doing about 50. You're probably not going to be getting that off unless it's a switch in. Ice Shard is doing a decent amount to this set, but probably something that you still need to be very wary of. It's going to be pretty problematic. Venusaur is a Pokemon that I could see being an okay against. I think it just completely depends on what set they're running. If they're running the offensive with Hidden Power Fire, then they're probably going to be able to kill you. But that means that they're sacrificing some of their bulk, meaning Icicle Crash might be to a KO. Given if you have, max attack with your Icicle Crash, maybe you get a flinch, something like that. Volcanion, I feel like will probably take Earthquakes pretty well. I want to actually run a calc on that. So we'll go with the offensive set. Volcanion takes about, actually that does a good amount, and that's neutral too. So if people are running speed investment to beat Volcanion, you could potentially 2 a KO that. Again, we don't know what Sandslash's speed will be, but if people start running, max speed in order to beat these non-speed invested, like 70, 60 base Pokemon, then, that'd be pretty nice. Zapdos has Heat Wave. That's going to be a problem. Weavile, you're probably going to be able to take on pretty well. It can knock you off, but if your physical defense is high, you can hit it back with a puncher and Iron Head. That thing is just going to drop. It's just not taking a hit. Weavile is very fragile. It's an amazing Pokemon, super good offensively, but not taking that hit. Raikou doesn't really run HP Fire. Thunderbolt will probably still do a pretty good amount to you, but you don't honestly see Raikou that much as it stands in ORAS right now. Thunderbolt, especially Specs, is going to be doing a ton. I don't think it would be a guaranteed kill. Let's check it out. Choice Specs, Thunderbolt. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you drop it. Never mind. especially with how Spadef is right now, you're not taking those hits. I'm listing a lot of Pokemon. I just want to go over some of the Pokemon that I feel like will give it problems, but I want to go over its niche that I feel like I've gone over actually. Its niche of what it can take on some of these Pokemon. I just want to go over the Pokemon that will give it problems. Mew, I could see the bulky set. I could see the bulky Mew set being a bit of a problem. If they go for the Will-O-Wisp, they just burn you. All that stuff. I keep getting messages. Probably should have shut that. I actually did shut that down. What the heck? Lando is gonna be doing a good amount too with Earthquake. I went over that, but I feel like you could still just hit it super hard with its stabs. Klefki, it can hit you with a T-Wave, but you're not really gonna care too much just because of the speed. Although we know what happens with that yellow magic. You get hit by that, you're gonna be in for a bad time. Jirachi with the Fire Punch set, it can probably do some. I don't think it will not flat out kill you with that full investment. I don't believe. Let's take a look actually. Choice Scarf Jirachi, Fire Punch. No, it is not going to kill you. After rocks, it has a chance to, but it won't flat out. Hippowdon, yeah, we went over that. Gengar, you know, your priority is definitely going to do a good amount to it. Yeah, I think overall just this Pokemon has potential in the tier as it stands right now. I think we just need to see how it's going to shape up with all these new Pokemon. We don't understand. These abilities are crazy, though. Like, what's the Mudsdale? Is that the horse? With that stamina ability? That's crazy. That's ridiculous. Or Drampa, that has a pretty cool ability, too. I know it's definitely not in the top tier of Broken, but what are these abilities? And what are these Pokemon typing? They're so weird. I love it, though. Gen 7 is shaping up to be really cool. I'm excited for Sun and Moon. November 18th, I believe, is the release date. Also, my friend's birthday, shout out to him. But I'm just so excited. I know I haven't really gone over much. I haven't really put out much of anything, but I saw this. Sandslash is a Pokemon I absolutely love. And I want to see it shine. I want to see some potential from this Pokemon. So again, leave your thoughts on what you think could happen with this Pokemon down the road. I want to hear, is it going to be trash? Is it going to be okay? Just let me know. We can have a discussion about it. I think it would be great. But if you guys also kind of like this stuff, leave me a like, or, you know, just say, hey, we want to see more of this stuff, because when I see this kind of stuff, it inspires me to make a video and stuff like that. Otherwise, it could be kind of hard. Just kind of finding this inspiration, and, you know, I want to talk about something that I'm interested in. So yeah, just let me know, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.